Alright, in this specific lesson today, I am going to teach you exactly how you can easily add a realistic fire effect to your very own Roblox game project. So first, I'm going to choose a village template. We can click into this village template here. Inside this template, there's already a small village. In this village, there are a few houses. When we zoom in a bit closer, we'll see here's the small village, there are some houses, and you can move things around or add different items. For example, let's say we want to place some fireballs that can catch fire near this small village. How can we do that? First, at the top, let's add a sphere, a round ball shape. Once you added a sphere, we'll zoom in a bit closer to this sphere. Alright, after adding a sphere, for example, I'll name it Fireball. Alright, so now that we have finished renaming it to Fireball, the next step is actually very simple. What we can do now is just go all the way up to our main menu bar at the top and then carefully select the option labeled Model. Once you are inside the Model tab, you will see a specific button called Effect. It is that Effect button right there that we need to click on to proceed. So inside this Effect button, when we click on the menu, you'll notice there are different effects available. And for this tutorial, we're mainly going to talk about the fire effect. So for example, when we click on the fire effect, you'll see that some flames appear on the fireball, burning and flickering like that, right? There's some flames there. Alright, of course we can also change its color. For example, we can change it back to orange, an orange ball. Yeah, that might look a bit better. Okay, so if you want the fire to be a bit bigger, what can you do? We can open up our properties. There's a properties button right here. After opening it, you'll notice that under the Explorer on the right side, beneath the fireball, we've now added this fire effect. We can click on fire and you'll see there are some options here. For example, you can make the fire a bit bigger. We can control the size, the scale of it. So for example, if it's at 5, we can turn it up to 10. When you set it to 10, this ball will burn much more intensely. And the maximum, let's try setting it to 20. Then it will burn even more fiercely. So you might ask, can we set it to 200 or something? You'll notice that the maximum is only 30, so we can create a really powerful fire effect. Of course, we don't need to set it that high. Let's bring it back to around 10 or so. Yeah, so that's about the size of this ball. Now, if you don't want it to be the color of a regular flame, we can change its color. For example, we can make it a really cool green. Or even try changing the material of this fireball. Let's switch it to, say, a material like this, and then turn it into a bluish color. You'll see that the whole thing looks really cool, and you can create a fireball effect like this. Isn't that super simple? Within this fire effect, there are other things we can adjust as well. Besides the color, you can also adjust its heat. The heat basically determines how the fire burns. You might not notice a huge difference at first glance, but actually, the intensity of the fire will change according to this value. So, about the time scale, if we increase this, for example, the smaller the value, the slower the fire will burn. If you set it to 0, the fire will actually freeze and stop moving. If we gradually increase the time scale, the fire will burn faster and faster, and at the maximum, which is 1, it'll burn at its fastest speed. So you can see the difference here. If you want to achieve this kind of effect, we can set it to 0.2, and you'll get this kind of result. So this feature in the model's effects, specifically the fire effect, is really useful. You can create some really beautiful and refined effects, like these fireballs. It's really simple. Just select it and press Ctrl D, and you can easily duplicate several more of these fireballs. It's super easy. Remember, after watching this tutorial, try it out yourself. Use the fire effect in Roblox Studio to create these different types of fire effects. This way, you can make all sorts of different effects, and you'll be able to create some really unique games. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If you found it useful, remember to subscribe and share it with others.